and my topic is GMOs. I'm always surprised when I meet someone who doesn't know what a GMO is, or they think they're totally safe. So what is a GMO? A GMO is a genetically modified organism. It's when they take the gene from one thing and insert it into the genes of something else. In this case, the foods we eat. This is something that never occurs in nature. And what are the effects of doing this? Studies on animals show many health problems: arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, osteoporosis, hardening of the arteries, allergies, low birth weight, reproductive problems, Lou Gehrig's disease, and cancer. Industry studies are too short to reveal long-term effects, usually only 90 days. Recently, a French team that studied rats for 2 years discovered many problems, including massive cancerous tumors and multiple organ damage. Negative outcomes that are discovered in government and industry studies are not reported. Scientists working for the FDA and biotech companies have been fired for trying to publish negative data. GMOs have many negative effects on humans. Doctors report a wide variety of symptoms improve after patients eliminate GMOs. Irritable bowel syndrome, cold hands and feet, thinning hair, allergies, congestion, colitis, weight gain, migraines, and asthma. Most corn grown in the U.S. is GMO. This corn contains a gene that allows the plant to produce its own insecticide, Bt toxin. This toxin passes into your bloodstream. Animal studies have shown Bt toxin causes negative health effects. In the only human feeding study published on GM foods, 7 volunteers ate Roundup Ready soybeans. In 3 of the 7, the gene inserted into the soy transferred into the DNA of their intestinal bacteria and continued to function long after they stopped eating the GM soy. It is believed that the gene might continue to create insecticide inside your intestines. Isn't that disgusting? Yeah. What should we do about it? More independent studies and don't eat GMOs. Yeah. But how can we know what is safe to eat? GMO foods are not labeled in the United States. Why? 64 other countries have GMO labeling, including 15 nations in the European Union, Japan, Australia, Brazil, Russia, and even China. Biotech, chemical, and processed food companies lie to manipulate public opinion. They spend lots of money to distort facts and keep truth hidden. In California, over $45 million were spent to defeat Proposition 37. That would have required GMO labeling. Why don't they want you to know what's in your food? What should we do about it? Buy only 100% organic and non-GMO project verified foods. These are not genetically modified. Tell politicians you want GMO foods to be labeled. Speaking of politics, many people who work for the FDA used to work for Monsanto, and some people who work for Monsanto used to work for FDA. They call this a revolving door, and it creates a conflict of interest. And the agenda of these biotech criminals is not to benefit the American people. It is just to make more money for themselves. And speaking of Monsanto, as seed suppliers are bought up by a handful of big companies, our farmers and our foods suffer. Reduced seed diversity. Non-GMO seeds are becoming less available to farmers. Also, seeds adapted to local weather and soil conditions are being lost. No saving seeds to plant next year. Farmers who buy GMO seeds from Monsanto must sign a contract not to save or sell the seeds from their harvest. Cost to farmers. GMO seeds cost more and increase the cost of farming due to increased herbicide use. Most common GMOs today: 94% of cotton, 93% of soy, 90% of canola, 88% of corn, 75% of Hawaiian papaya, and 54% of sugar beets. What should we do about it? Purchase local heirloom seeds for our gardens and buy produce from local farmers who plant heirloom seeds. And speaking of farmers, they have other problems. Pollen drift. Pollen in the air from GMO crops contaminates non-GMO foods, organic foods, and seeds saved for next year's crop. Super weeds. Weeds eventually develop resistance to glyphosate. Then farmers must use more dangerous must use more dangerous herbicides, including 2,4-D, also known as Agent Orange. In Vietnam, 500,000 babies were born with birth defects due to the use of Agent Orange. Lawsuits against farmers. Monsanto sues farmers whose crops accidentally become contaminated with their GMO from pollen drift. What do I think about this? I think non-GMO farmers should be protected. And what effects do GMOs have on the environment? Increased chemical spraying. Over 80% of all GMOs grown worldwide are engineered for herbicide tolerance. As a result, use of toxic herbicides like Roundup have increased dramatically. Water contamination. Biotech companies claim that glyphosate, Roundup, breaks down before reaching groundwater. But recent studies have shown this to be false. Other studies have found glyphosate in streams and rivers, as well as in air surrounding farms that use Roundup. What should we do about it? We should stop spraying these harmful chemicals into the environment. Sources of my information include the Institute for Responsible Technology, local food advocates, local farmers, Dr. Joseph Mercola, medical director and author, Jeffrey Schmidt, GMO expert, consumer advocate and author, justlabelIt.org, and various other online sources, and my wonderful mom and dad and all my wonderful friends. To learn more about GMOs, see the movie Genetic Roulette or visit justlabelIt.org. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Yeah.
I bet. You wrote that amazing.
No, my parents helped me with the writing part,
Oh,
but
that's excellent.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for carrying and for
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking the time to do that.
How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
Wow.
What's your name so we can put that in Facebook?
My name's Alexa.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and I'm really thankful that all of you came and took the time to watch me because that means a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Thank
I have a
you.
question.
Yeah.
Is 2,4-D Agent Orange, or is it only part of Agent Orange?
Yes.
Part.
It's part of Agent Orange.
And the other part is
I don't know. Yeah.
2, 5, yeah.
I don't know.
One
Yeah.
of 2 parts, okay.
Yes.
Close enough.
Yeah, Joya?
How can you tell if something's GMO?
Very
From
good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, you can look, let's say you picked up an apple and it had the sticker that said, and it started, if you look at the label code on the sticker on the bottom and it starts with a 9, it means organic. And if it says it's organic, it is organic. And if you look at the sticker and it starts with a 4, it probably means it's genetically modified.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my family, we eat all organic, so,
Oh.
yes.
But there's another problem. I heard you say that the pollen can contaminate the seeds. So if somebody's growing organically grown food, how can they tell if their food has been contaminated with GMOs?
They have to test it and make sure, and then I think it's really upsetting that Monsanto sues them for no good reason, because it's, yeah.
Well, obviously.
Oh, and then it just upsets me, because it's like, why do they have to sue them for no good reason? I mean,
Yeah, suing farmers that
yeah.
have been contaminated with GMOs when they didn't have any desire or intention
Yeah.
for that to happen.
Yeah.
How do you test?
Oh, whoops.
Sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to just ask. Do you know how expensive the testing is and who does the testing?
Expensive.
It's
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
It's expensive,
it's really
yeah.
expensive.
If anybody's concerned, I think it's a Rico out at, it was in the herb farm. He's in the process of,
Richo.
He's in the process of doing a bulk testing with local farmers. They're sending in chard seed, I believe. So he wouldn't have information as to what the testing costs,
Yeah.
because he's done a lot of research on that recently.
Yeah, we have a friend who's a organic biodynamic farmer, and he tested his own seed and found it contaminated with GMO, and it was in a place that was far away from what they thought were any
In
GMO
Williams.
crops.
What kind of seed?
Corn.
Corn.
I've heard that Jeffrey Smith, who you've gotten some information from him, was the former VP of marketing of a genetic testing lab. So maybe he can get us some free testing.
I heard that you've been asked to give this speech again at some other location. Do you know, are you going to do that? And
Yeah, I think I'll do it.
Because I'd like to come sit here.
And they're probably gonna come to those 2 things too.
Yeah.
Yes.
When and where is it?
Do you know yet?
One's at a
It's
like a
It's next weekend, next Saturday. There's a
Master Gardeners?
no, it's some kind of party for Grandma Aggie.
Oh, nice.
Hey, would you
I don't
consider,
have the time though yet.
would you consider being a speaker at rallies or like the March Against Monsanto or things like that?
yeah.
Take us around.
I don't know more.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
And I mean,
It might be a star.
because I mean, I know, I mean, everyone needs to know about it, and kids need to know about it, and adults need to know about it. I mean, everyone needs to know about
Yes.
it. It's just such a big thing, and it's hidden from us, and it's really scary. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are the positives that are being marketed?
What would a positive mean? Like.
Well,
They
They like
Oh.
to say that it's going to help feed the
Yeah.
world.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they
Right.
like to like,
Oh,
and then it's not.
But it's really a
Yeah,
problem
but it's really,
of distribution.
yeah, it's like a problem of distribution and stuff. So they don't.
but do you know why it's so attractive to farmers? Why are farmers buying into the whole GMO thing?
Because people tell them, oh, it's going to make a great crop. You don't have to, the weeds will be fine. They'll have a great yield, and then they buy into that, and then when they do it, after a while, it just starts to wear off, and then they're like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
And so,
The
good
super
marketing.
bugs.
yeah,
The super bugs come in, right?
yeah.
Super
Do you
bugs,
know
super
about the
weeds.
suicides in
Yeah,
India?
India,
Can
yeah.
you talk about that at all?
Well, let's see.
Farmers.
Yeah, like farmers,
Lots of farmers.
yeah, lots of farmers, they like to,
Committed suicide.
they committed suicide because they can't keep
Yeah.
their,
Pay their debt.
yeah, they can't pay their debt and
Or-
stuff.
or
Because
get
they
out of the
can't
contract.
save their.
Yeah, they can't save their seeds, and then they get upset, and then they just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that, but we didn't get it quite
Yeah.
in there.
and when their children become a certain age, they inherit their parents' debt or assets under the Indian law, so that there's actually also a strategic reason for these suicides to prevent the next generation from being burdened
Right.
with their debt.
Yeah,
It
they're
raises
relieved of
the
their
debt.
debt, I've
It
heard.
raises the
debt.
They're
Yeah.
relieved of debt if they.
Amazing. A sacrifice.
It's,
So they do it for their
They're
families.
relieved of
Yeah.
their debt if they what?
they're,
die.
if they die, they are
Oh.
relieved of their debt. And their debt is to Monsanto, or whatever, Syngenta, or
Monsanto's
whoever.
gonna
Oh,
find
so
a
that to
way
protect their future
resuscitate
generations.
Yep,
Oh,
to
that's
protect
awful.
their families. It's horrible.
Monsanto's gonna sue them for doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get blood out of a turnip.
Okay, well, thank you, Alexa.
Thank you.
Yeah.